Thank you very much, Sril, and I want to thank the two gentlemen, the general and the DIG who contributed earlier. What baffles me is that we don't seem to have a sense of history in this country. I remember in 1998 when the Multinational Joint Task Force was formed. We had a similar situation in Borno and Yobe states. The Fulanis were quite under intense pressure from the Nigerian rebels who were being sponsored by Libya. The Tubo Arabs, and they were called the FDR by the acronym. And so what the Nigerian government did after the request from the Fulanis was to grant them military-grade weapons to form their own militia force to defend themselves. Our border local governments in Yobe and Borno states went over to Diffa in Niger and recruited and got the services of these Fulani milice to come and protect them in their local governments, which was quite an anomaly because you had the national security apparatus on ground. You had the police, you had the DSS and the rest in the local governments. And it was condoned. So when my force came in, we had to clear them out of Nigeria. We couldn't accept that because they were not supposed to be part of it. Now we have a similar situation where a traditional ruler has gone. We were likely to have cleared them. Now, a traditional ruler went and brought them in to protect them, just like the local government chairman in those local governments did. The unfortunate thing is that even the Fulani milice themselves, they were being sustained by the Fulanis. And at the time when our force came in and defeated the rebels, the Fulanis stopped sustaining them, because here was a credible force that could now provide security more than what their own militia force could do. Now here you had a militia force seated, armed, but not being catered for. So they had to leave off the land, and they started this kwanta that you see coming into Nigeria. What we advised our National Security Council then was that we should help Niger Republic to disarm this militia force. Now, you have a situation where a chief in that place did that, and it looks there is something wrong with the whole system of national security itself. Either the citizens themselves don't understand what is good. If you say is to help you, what extent can you get help from an external source, an armed source to come and help you? When you are riding on a tiger and the tiger is eating other animals, you know at the end of the day, you'll be in the stomach of the tiger. And that's what happened to the chief. Because after they finished killing the other ones, they killed him. So I think it's abnormal. We must nip some of these things at the bud, and there has to be something put in place for us to make sure that all the marginal communities, you see, all these things start at the marginal communities because there is a sense of them not being catered for like the communities in the center. And so there is what we start talking about, what of the community resilience. We had talked about developing border areas for long. It has been a lip service. I know in 1992, there was a trans-border cooperation workshop between Nigeria and Cameroon. I was part of that workshop, which recommended that all border communities should be developed because it was part of the system that will provide national security. If you keep our borders as communities well developed, the tendency of them taking over, going over to get people to come and defend them or to provide services for them will not be there. So I think what we would need to do is that we have to rejig our own system itself. How do we get our Nigerian population, the Nigerians, to understand the concept of nationhood, patriotism, national security, and security awareness to the extent that you know that there are certain things that you do even if they provide respite for you immediately, they are tantamount to national security, because in the end, they are going to be more injurious to national security than the immediate relief you are getting. So I think something has to be done in that respect.
Okay.
And I see the police, the civil defense, and the DSS taking a lead in that. But that cannot be done without the civil authority itself, because it is the responsibility of the state governors and the local government chairman to have made sure that the security of citizens in their own area is being catered for. And where this is not being done, I think that chief was responsible to somebody in a local government. I think we need to do something about this sort of things, because there is no way what they are doing now is recruiting. And this recruiting sometimes is through coercion, because that's what the terrorist does. He controls you by fear, coercion, and make sure you do. But even when they are doing what they are doing is ideological too. So when they are bringing ideology, religion into it, it becomes something more difficult, because it's going to be hydra-headed. You don't defeat an idea or a religious idea by guns. You defeat it by a superior idea. The
Okay.
guns are there to check and make sure they don't cross the lines. So I think there should be something seriously being done to counter some of this narrative that is going out, to get our people back from where they have been taken to the normal, to the mainstream religious line.